your mind, lost in
It's more aggressive, it's more intentional, it's deals with my third book just came out, a tale Boom Chicka Meow Meow, and it's rewrite of The Tailor of Gloucester, and it's basically about a cat that runs a sweatshop that make the clothes for all the humans in town, and the employees are the mice. And it's kind of like my commentary on how other human beings are disposable, and sweatshops, human trafficking, that kind of stuff. But like my first book, A Tale of Two Rabbits, which is about a rewrite of Peter Rabbit, there's a skinned rabbit on the cover of it. So it's
Whoa.
very I mean, it is a little intense, but that being said, at the end of every book, there's this hope. There's this larger story going on that you kind of get to know
I like
by
that. I
reading
mean,
it. Yeah.
it's kind of weird because we live very much in, you can live very much in a very cushioned type of lifestyle where
Yeah.
the reality, and then I recently, one sec, I dropped my joint paper. God damn it.
There is no God.
There is no God. When I was recently watching a documentary called Paris is Burning, which was about the ballroom scene in New York around the late 80s. And it's not the only documentary that's like this, where you can hear people talking 35 years ago, right? 1983, 1984. And they're describing the exact same issues that we have now with the gay community, with problems with immigration, the problems with government, the problems with society and education, the lack of care, This is 35 years ago. It's 35 years ago.
That's depressing. Were they also talking about how Aquanet was destroying the ozone layer? Because I would have loved to have known if they cared about that.
I don't know,
Okay.
because like I come from the scene like where I grew up in the early 2000s when we had plasma TVs. People today are like, why don't we have plasma TVs anymore? Because they exposed radiation. They were very toxic. And it's like, well, it's a TV. Well, we've kind of come a long way over the years, but like I kind of like stories like that where take an idea that once was seen one way and now you can see it the other way.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think it's partially because I grew up overseas and I saw a lot of the world when I was a kid.
Where did
I
you
grew
grow up?
in Guyana and South America and then in Pakistan. And so I'm sure,
Wow.
yeah, as you can imagine, just seeing the extreme poverty. And, I lived in this house with this massive wall around it. And we had local people as our chef and our gate watcher and all this stuff. But we'd go out and I'd meet local people in the extreme poverty and just no food, no shelter, people with crazy health issues. They couldn't walk or born with deformities. When you grew up with that and you see that my life is one of privilege and I don't have to worry about all that stuff, it just kind of, I like to say, it got my head up when I was an adult. And I realized I want to do stuff that's more like my work. I want it to be a little bit angry, a little bit clever, but it absolutely engage with the world and what's going on and the injustice that's out there.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's one of those things where when you talk to somebody, right? And if you can't have that uncomfortable conversation, if you can't have where you can disagree with another person, what is the point? What's the fucking point? I mean, it's like we're all unique in our own way, right? Am I wrong?
No, you are right. You speak the truth. You speak the truth. Preach.
Listen, I may be the type that can preach my way through church, honey child, but let me tell you, I have limits.
I was waiting for the first honey chow, so now
you're actually counting them. Oh my god, I actually have a honey child counter. Damn,
yes.
Fucking love this. So you've written altogether 3 books so far. So A Peter Rabbit, A Cat Sweatshop, which I love cats and they're Satan's children, but I still love them. And then what was the other one you had?
Yeah, so the second book in the series is called The Nuts Guts, and it's a
Ooh.
rewrite of Squirrel Nutkin. And there's a lot of
Okay.
layers in that title. And that one, so
Yeah.
the first book comes out kind of harsh with that skinned rabbit on the cover.
On
and
the
it
cover,
talks,
yeah.
and it deals with environmentalism and degradation of our natural resources. Second book, I back off a little bit, and it's about Squirrel Nutkin, who is like a silly squirrel who's lost his tail. And it's more of a fun sort of, we step back, we have a little fun with the series. Third one deals with sweatshops, boom chicka meow meow. So yeah, I'm having fun so far. There's going to be a 13 book series. I've written
Wow.
the first 7 or 8. I think I've had the first 6 illustrated. But as you can imagine, it does cost a lot of money to produce these things. So I can't just unleash them on the world all at once.
You got to take them like a little bit slower, kind of. And I think that's actually could be a good thing, though. It allows you to like maybe be able to pick one story in particular that you want to release and might be able to catch audience, like a skin rabbit on the cover or a cat sweatshop named Bow Chicka Meow Meow.
Yeah.
Which it's catchy. I'm not gonna lie. Like that would make me. I was like, huh. Actually, I might read this now. This actually sounds kind of interesting. Yeah.
It's
and
really
it has that clever story too, which I really like. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
For sure.
I was going to say that I totally, someone asked me to be on their kids' books podcast. So I was reading the story and...
One second. A kids... Yeah. Kids' book podcast?
Yes.
How does that even work?
So the person reads children's books and then discusses them, and it's for kids to kind of listen to every week and then feel good about the world. Nice. As I was reading Boom Chicka Meow Meow, I realized that it was not for kids. And I got halfway through and I told the poor host, I said, I don't think this is for kids. And she said, yeah, when you were talking about bone crushing and skulls and stuff like that, she said, I really, yeah. And I said, yeah, I think this is for 10 and over. She's doing younger kids, but it's definitely not children's literature. Let's just say that.
No, and it's also one of those things where, like, I love especially adult cartoons.
Yeah.
And there's this thing where as an adult, you have to be an adult, right? Where you have to do all of these fucking adult shit all the goddamn time.
Yeah.
But the reality is like, you can be an adult and love Disney and like satire and dark shit and cartoons. I love like South Park or The Simpsons or what was one of them that came? Futurama is one of my favorite.
Oh my God, me too.
I fucking love Futurama with Bender.
Me too. Yes.
Bender. Good news, everyone.
One of my... Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say one of my favorite is Space Ghost, Coast to Coast.
Space Ghost.
Yes.
Nice. I've heard of it, but I haven't actually like dabbled. What is it about?
It's like ridiculous. I mean, it's so absurd. I mean, it's a product of its time. Okay, let's just put it that way. Because I realized that when I said this, that I was going to date myself.
Early 90s? Is it a 90s?
Yeah, like Adult Swim.
Okay, yeah.
Totally.
All right.
Yeah. So I
love Adult Swim.
I loved Master Shake, Fry Guy, Carl, their next door neighbor.
Robo Chicken. When it was good.
Yes.
When it was good.
In Futurama, that show, I almost told it to F off and die when they had that horrible episode with the dog. Do you remember that episode? Where his dog like sits outside and waits for him. And they imply almost like it's decades. I mean, I almost got up and I'm like, I cannot watch this show anymore. I can't do it.
The thing about Futurama was it was very dark. Okay. Like when the iPhone came out in 2007, they came out with the episode, which was iPhone, where people literally went on a conveyor belt, had their eyes fucking ripped out of their skulls. And like this robotic thing was fucking shoved in there. And like, it's kind of creepy, but funny and hilarious at the same time. I love that kind of satire. It's cheesy, but like, it's fun. Come on.
Yeah, and so
Come on,
prescient,
little bone
right?
and crush bones. Yes, please. Huh?
So prescient about
Yeah.
what our life is like now, today. I mean, they kind of could foresee the eyeball apocalypse that was coming.
You take deep breaths, and you don't breathe out. And hope. I mean, honestly, okay. There is this thing where we're kind of afraid of humans and robotics becoming a part of one. But realistically speaking, I mean, we've been a part of computers for a long time already. I mean, we constantly rely on smartphones for a variety of different things. We see electronics on a day-to-day basis. So it may not be in your body yet, but it's there. And it's attached to you. Mine's on the table with a nail file on top of it because, yeah, that's how we protect it from moving.
That's how you keep it in line, is that nail file.
I'm dead. Oh, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Straightforward. So I can pretty much tell, like, with your type of personality and your sense of humor and character, with your type of writing style, what is your podcast like? Is that, like, just completely different? Do you just, like, now I'm going to be kosher?
Oh my gosh. Well, totally, completely different. I mean, completely different. And partially because I went to seminary and got my Master's of Divinity, graduated kind of at the beginning of the pandemic. There were no jobs anywhere, even though I didn't really know what I wanted to do or be when I was going to grow up.
Gotcha.
And everybody was saying how depressed they were and sad and lonely and isolated. And I thought, what would I want to hear? What do I want to hear? And so I thought, gosh, people are always coming up to me and saying, hey, this weird thing happened to me, or hey, this other weird thing happened. What do you think about it?
Oh, I can add a weird thing to you right now. When you're done, I can tell you a weird thing story. Yeah.
And so I said to myself, what do I want to hear that'll make me feel better? And I thought, you know what? I want to talk about these experiences that people have. And so basically the podcast is I interview everyone under the sun, religious, a-religious, atheists, every religion you can imagine. And I ask them, have you ever witnessed something you thought was magical or miraculous in your life? And how did it change your life? And I've had everything from someone who died 3 times to best friends who like tell people how to be in the world to someone who was lost in the woods and saw a vision that then got them and their entire school group who were lost out of the woods. I've had every story, ghosts, everything you can imagine, these really interesting experiences that people have had that have changed their life. And they can be small things, they can be big things. And so it is. It's very different from my book series.
Yeah. So like I said, like you have a type of personality that can touch different areas, from the weird satire to the skin rabbits and to the miraculous and funky ass stories. Yeah?
I like that. I like that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. This might get sad for just a sec, but my dad died a few years ago. And when my dad died, to be honest, I was cannabis and kind of meditation, all that kind of stuff. I had 2 visions with my dad. I had one where I saw my dad in the woods. And not your typical woods. Pretty much imagine a forest where every single tree was copy and paste.
Oh.
Exact same tree, exact same color. Everything was perfect. I see my dad, and then there's an eagle, specifically a golden eagle, that just flies right through, and he disappears.
Your dad disappears?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So there's the second one. The second one was I saw my dad in a room that was lit by a fireplace, and the entire room had bookshelves filled to the brim with records, white records, and each of the records had just one word on each of them. And I saw my dad pulling out family, sorrow, pain, remorse, love, forgiveness, and just one at a time, just playing them on the record player.
Well, my God.
I
So
told you.
yeah.
There you go.
Well, that first one is fascinating just because um, in indigenous traditions, the eagle is kind of connection to Great Spirit, or is in fact Great Spirit, and is the eagle always looks down from above and witnesses everything. So I think it's fascinating that your dad was in this forest that was copy and paste, because that alludes to the fact that this reality isn't actually real, quote unquote, and that it is kind of this illusion that we live in, and that he's there, but then the Great Spirit comes through and takes him. And that second one, holy cow. Oh my gosh. Those are both so powerful.
They were very vivid. Like I was almost physically there.
What a gift. I mean, it's a huge, huge gift. Like to have like visions like that is a huge responsibility, because sometimes we get knowledge that we don't want to have. We just don't want that effing knowledge. You know what I mean? Because it makes life more complicated. It's not
It
as
does.
easy to gloss everything over. But
I
also beautiful.
It does. It definitely beautifies it. The thing was, I took mushrooms a little bit, like about a year or so ago, because I wanted to get some clarity, and I kind of figured out what both of those
Okay.
situations were. And you're correct with like the first one, where I kind of learned that a golden eagle is a Holy Spirit. It's the type of person that very much. So it's interesting because golden eagles are the most territorial eagles, but they're not the most dangerous.
Okay.
And it's interesting, like even with Native American lore, they found these connections with golden eagles where when you offered to them and showed them respect, they showed it right back to you. And it honestly changes you as an individual, but in the way where I got it.
Yeah.
Very much. The second one is something that we as humans do not want to face, which is in our lives, we carry many words that mean very much to us. And when you die, those words go with you. This is just a physical form, but whatever energy source, or whatever you want to call it, that part of you takes from what this is and goes there. I believe that your conscience never distinguishes. You're always conscious. Think about that for a second. It's like, how can you understand something that's never turned off? Sorry,
Yeah.
that was a little rant. My apologies.
No. I think of that, what people said Steve Jobs said before he died. Have you heard this?
I believe so, but refresh my memory.
Yeah. So he was dying and he had people around him, and right at the moment of death, his eyes opened. He looked beyond everybody and he said, "Wow. Oh, wow." And then he died. So if that's not something that makes you understand there's a little more going on in this reality, this non-reality, in other realities, then I don't know what's going on with you.
Right. You know, if you want to think about it on a scientific level, in a way, Mother Nature is a quantum computer. Just a little refresh. A quantum computer is a computer that can compute on the molecular level. Okay, so this is like nanoscopic, very, very small. But Mother Nature does that all the time. It's called cells. Take 2, make 4, make 6, make 18. And it's been doing this for a very long time. In a way, it is true. We do live in an artificial world. An organic artificial world. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love that because I've read science magazines since I was a kid, and
I love science
I know,
and
I do too.
physics. Oh, I am such a nerd.
Well, I mean, I was reading an article about photosynthesis and a few years ago, and scientists were saying, it's in plants, it happens way more efficiently than the math allows it to. So they were like, we think there might be a quantum component. And I was like, of course there is.
They talk
Of
to each
course there
other.
is. I know,
They
come on,
talk to
people.
each
Come
other.
on. And then there was just a great article in, I think it was Popular Mechanics recently.
Okay.
And they're going back to a theory that was, I think, posited in the 1980s, maybe 1990s, about consciousness and having to do with these microtubules in the brain. And basically, the title of the article, it was about bringing this theory back. And the article said, scientists now are going back to this theory of consciousness. Hint, you are connected to the entire universe. And basically,
It's a I heard this from a chemist.
Yeah.
It's a chemical. You think about it is our bodies produce DMT, dimethyltryptamine. Our bodies interact with psilocybin, which is a type of. It's basically something that gets you really psychedelic. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what psilocybin is. That's one. There's the endocannabidiol system, and there are many others besides those that I don't remember the names. So he said it's the right formula plus the universe times infinite energy. This is Twix. Say hi, Twix. No, you got to look at the camera. The camera's over there, honey.
Twix is really beautiful.
Look at her.
Hi, Twix. She's so good.
She is.
Well, yeah, and they're saying that consciousness is quantum. And I'm like, of course it is. Yeah, fools. I mean, it's like, and I even say that just because of all the experiences that these people have talked about on my podcast, that something more is going on, that all this, the scientists who aren't open to it, they poo-poo and they're like, oh, maybe momentary lapse in sanity for that person. Or, they just say all these experiences aren't legitimate, right? Because they don't have a way to measure them.
It's the same way where they refuse, like, for example, with archaeologists refusing to accept the fact that there could have been a highly advanced civilization that lived 12,000 years ago. The thing about you have to understand something. Humans, besides other creatures, we developed very differently. Like going through the different. Okay, I'm very much like, I'm agnostic, but I'm very scientific based. I've said this many times. I like to look at evolution. Even though I was raised religious, I don't care. That just makes a little bit more sense to my brain. So the different generations of humans, you can see how much we differentiate ourselves from the way whales developed, to dolphins, to this little squish over here, cats, right? Felines. We didn't develop the same way that they did.
Yeah. And, whales and dolphins aren't having the same feelings of isolation and loneliness and depression
They survive.
that we are.
We've learned now, which is crazy, whales survive on community, which means that if one gets lost, or their chances of survival are very low. They make their own music, which is crazy. Yeah. They have their own languages between each. Oh my God. You start to love the world around you when you start to realize that no one gives a fuck about humans and they're doing just great. And they'll get rid of you. Trust me. They will get rid of you. You think a whale can't take down a ship? Oh.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder when the earth is going to start shrugging us off, you know?
Volcanoes, earthquakes.
Yeah.
It's not that we're meaningless, right? I think, like, if you want to elaborate this, I would love for you to do this. We're not meaningless. We just have to understand that we're a smaller part of a bigger picture.
Yeah, and I think a little humility wouldn't hurt either. I mean, to be honest, you talked about that civilization 12,000 years ago and why we can't even comprehend that that's possible. It's because people who live today think this is as good as it's ever been. They can't even conceive that someone or any group 12,000 years ago could have a battery, an operational battery, or whatever that looks like.
Think about where technology... Okay, it's the way... And I love to give this example. Sorry if I interrupted. It is possible on another planet where a type of being like us can be developed from metals.
Yeah.
So imagine a species that is made out of metal material. How's that possible? Well, maybe on their planet, their atmosphere, and their environment, that's how they developed. Does that make sense? No! But we can't understand that.
A planet of benders.
Please, please, Jesus. Please. Please.
That planet better be out there. It better be out there. I was going to say, honey child, you can interrupt me whenever you want. You just do it. You just do it.
I want a beer.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. Jesus. It's just like, it's just being able to get yourself out of the box and being able to understand that, like, global warming is a real thing.
Yes.
But it's been a real thing for the entire existence of this planet. Global warming has always happened. However, it's like we've added to the fire.
Yeah.
You know? There are things that we can be doing differently for sure, but there's also the understanding of where things take time.
Yeah.
You need to have patience.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that are we going deep yet? Because I was waiting for us to go deep.
Honey. What do you think? I'm lighting this shit right now.
Okay.
Let's go.
I wanted to make sure because it sounded like only during very special interviews do things go deep. So I was kind of looking forward to this and hoping that was
you've
what was
already gone there. Listen, honey child, we on the spacecraft right now, and we're like,
go.
Like, go.
What did Jean-Luc Picard say? He said, engage. Yes. We've done engaged. We've done engaged.
We fucking done engaged.
But no, I mean, you're totally, you speak the truth. I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, we can't even conceive of planets like that where it's a planet of benders. Everyone's made of metal. And, it would help if, Earth, countries, Earth as a whole, I suspect that if another alien race came to Earth, we would be pretty xenophobic as a planet, and bad things would happen. And again, that goes back to humility, right? And fear mongering. I think a lot of people they live their life literally in fear from waking up to going to sleep at night. They don't have any hope. They don't have any faith that this world is a good place. And I don't know. I just can't relate to people like that. I don't understand that way of being in the world. It makes no sense to me. You also seem that way. Like you have a great sense of humor. You're interested in science. You're interested, I'm sure, in the life of the mind. How can I learn things? How can I be curious? A lot of people are not curious.
It's it's something that's very much lost. We're very much in the retrospective of ideology. I'm going to be very blunt right now. We live in a society where we're bored shitless, that we have to meddle into other countries' problems that is not our issue to begin with. We start fights over things that we don't have enough knowledge and expertise on. We seem to need labels like, I need to get a permanent tattoo decided by you, and that's okay. I find it very discomforting because I'm young and I'm a person that grew up kind of in the beginning of the internet. I was born in 1999, and I started to see the transition of different things. I'm disappointed in people my age. They make me depressed, to be honest. And I've met some great people my age, but majority of the time, I don't want to be revolved around you. You're stupid. You don't spend time to learn about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Sit down and have a fucking conversation. Sorry.
Or read a science magazine.
Exactly.
I mean, I think...
Or hear an interesting interview on YouTube. Or
yeah.
There's tons of those.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I say every day is, and I really do, I'm like, I know nothing. Even though I know some things about certain things, at the end of the day, I really do know nothing. And that helps keep me humble, keeps my mind open, and keeps me curious. And I don't know why so many people are so happy to be literally disengaged from living their life fully, like being fully invested in their lives, creating it or making friends or being with family or creating a job or finding out what excites them. So many people are just utterly, utterly disengaged from their lives, and they want to be spoon-fed everything. They want to be told what to think. They want to be told how to feel or how they should. And I'm not thrilled with the political process because I don't think we have any good options. It's all the same thing. And I'm willing to admit that. And that's me. I'm more on the liberal democratic side, probably because I grew up overseas and have seen what true poverty and true suffering looks like. But it's like nobody wants to actually invest time or energy in deeply investing themselves in the world and discovering this world, discovering other people, discovering themselves.
It's the biggest problem where, specifically even with cannabis and hemp, Jesus fucking Christ, it's 2024. Decriminalize cannabis, please. Enough of this fucking bullshit, okay? It's like, it's not even, cannabis has its own things, but hemp can be used as a raw material that's cheap, okay? It's biodegradable. You can make, believe it or not, you can make plastic out of hemp. I've used hemp products before. They're kind of funky. They're kind of funky and weird, but there are solutions to our problems that are easy and quick and simple. The problem is nobody wants to do it because it's too fucking expensive.
Well, I mean, I also think with the hemp, like the cotton industry, they're lobbyists. I mean, they 100% are making sure that doesn't happen.
I have hemp shirts, and let me tell you, they last longer than cotton. And they feel better than cotton over time. It's just, sometimes I just want to like be like, "Urgh," and at the same time just like, "Urgh." And then you got to just take a deep breath.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that is the most stupid, and I'm just going to use that word, stupid about not having cannabis legal everywhere, is that it has been shown to significantly help on so many different levels for people who are suffering from medical issues, cancer, disease, not being able to eat. I mean, just as a medical or like a pharmaceutical aid, it's a plant. It's all natural. I mean, you're not going to have 10,000 side effects. I hate those.
But tobacco is all natural.
I know. I know.
And it's crazy how tobacco and alcohol is 100% legal. So you can kill somebody on the road because you had too much, or smoke yourself to cancer. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. See, I'm one of those people that I believe in freedoms, which is, don't tell me what to put on my body. Don't tell me what I'm allowed to smoke pertaining to drugs. It's like, you have the right to fuck up your life. I know this might sound like, you have the right to fuck up your life. That should be your choice. Because you know what? Not enough people have had their asses kicked enough.
Yeah.
I'm being honest.
Yeah. I definitely think you should have Honey Child tattooed on your body. That
Honey
needs
Child.
to happen. Yeah.
I'm going to think about it. It's actually not a bad idea. I went on a tattoo whim this past weekend where I was in a brewery and there was a tattoo artist there and there was heavy metal playing in the background. And I was like, I want that. She's like, cool. I sat down there and I took a real big hit and then I had to cough and I was like, just hold on. She's like, okay, I got you. And then I had to let it out and it was awesome with the metal and the weed and the tattoo.
Oh my God.
It's a great
That's
combo.
amazing.
Don't recommend kids. Don't do this at home.
Yeah, I do have to say that, like, I had a party when I lived in Bellingham, Washington. I think it was for Easter.
You lived in Washington State?
I did, yes.
Is it really bad? I've heard from people it's like...
Oh, well, this was a long time ago. So
Okay.
Bellingham was really, really small back then. I look younger than I actually am. Anyway, in the back room, I had a tattoo artist set up and he gave tattoos at the party. I think that was my most amazing party that I've ever had. And he had these little tears coming from his eyes tattooed on his face. Later, I was like, why does that guy have those? And they're like, yeah, we shouldn't tell you why those tears are on his face. Nothing good. But it was a good party. Was that Twix?
Yeah, I had something on my leg.
Ah!
Yeah, but sorry.
That's okay.
It's kind of nuts when you think about it. Like getting a tattoo at like when there's like a band playing in the background. But
that's awesome.
It really is, and the music honestly helps. I know that sounds nuts. It's just
I think it does. Right?
It makes it just so much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, don't you think that stimulation distracts you from the pain of the tattoo of the needle?
I've had several tattoos, and I'm gonna be honest, like they're not as painful as people make them out to be. Like there is something where your body does go numb after a certain point. I'll tell you that. So I've had that before. I've actually had before where my shoulder went numb.
Really?
I couldn't feel this for like a few hours. So I only felt this part, but I didn't feel, it was this one, this tattoo right here.
Oh,
yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. But that was weird for like a few hours.
Maybe that's your superpower.
What?
That you can just make different parts of your body go numb at will.
Well, when I'm stabbed 1,000 times with a needle, yeah. That should be my like quote of the day.
Instead of saying like I'm Batman, you have to come up with a different name. And nobody will know what you're talking about.
Sting me, prick me, and I will be numb. Very numb, I say. Quote.
You could totally be a beekeeper and suffer no ill effects.
I learned something from a beekeeper on how to be around bees, and because of it, I have not been stung. And it's you don't bother them. You just
leave them alone.
Yeah, just let them do their I've had a bee just go on my hand
Yeah.
and went to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not even kidding. This was like in a cafe and I was with my
Yeah.
friend and it just fell asleep on my hand. And I remember she's like, Dave. It's like, what? It's sleeping. Like, I'm not gonna, and it just feels like insane, but it just happened. And when it was over, I was like, yeah, it works. You just leave them
Leave 'em
alone.
alone.
They won't
Yeah.
sting you and die, you know, because
Yeah.
if they sting you, you know,
Yeah.
they're going up too. Yeah.
Be heaven.
Be heaven.
Yes.
Actually, that sounds like an amazing cosmetic line for just like all honey natural products. Is try our brand new cream. Be heaven.
And it's just honey, and you just slather honey all over your body.
All over your body. Like bears galore over you. You know, like,
Yes.
oh
Yes.
no, call customer service, please.
A lot of complaints to that customer service line. The best part would be a bear answers the phone at the customer service line. Yes.
Is there a human? You just hear like screaming in the background. Like, oh wow, they've been infiltrated.
Yes.
They've been taken over by the. You know what? Let's get rid of Planet of the Apes. That's it. I love the series. It was from the 70s, but it's over. Replace it with Planet of the Bears.
I like that.
Okay. A mad company made all honey products, and the bears collectively became the super bears.
Yep. Yep. I think that's, I see that. That could be a series, episodic series for sure. Yeah.
Planet
got
of the
something.
Bears. Wow. Did we just create a story?
I think we did. And based on what's going on in the world with the man versus bear thing with the women, and they'd rather be with bears, I think that it should be bears, Planet of the Bears, and then the women, and they're just happy because it's bears and not men.
Wow.
Have you been paying attention to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I as a gay person have to deal. So I recently learned that I technically would be classified as an otter.
Oh.
Yeah.
What? Who told you that?
I had two friends that told me that, and then we kind of came back and forth. And it's like, it's the type of thing that kind of shocked me. I was like, huh.
Oh.
Yeah. Because, you know, this whole craze with the bears, here's my tea. If you're a real bear, you wouldn't know that you're a bear. Think about that.
True story.
Right?
Yeah. So wait, what do you think about the otter thing? Like, was it shocking to you? Do you agree?
I kind of do, because I am quite masculine, but I do have a feminine side to me, and I'm like beard and, you know, so I guess.
Okay.
Perhaps. Ooh, I'm using fancy words. I like this.
Big
Yay.
words.
Big words.
Big words. Yes.
Amphibious words. No, that doesn't work.
That's right.
Shit. Back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board.
No, back to the universe.
Honey child.
Honey child.
Yes.
Damn. I love this because, you know, it's like, I told you this from the beginning where I have a New York accent, but it's kind of strange where I've lived in LA and I've also like lived out here in Florida, and I kind of have like a little bit of a Southern twist. And I've heard like, yeah,
Yep.
like I've heard a few people tell me that. So honey child has to be like, you know, I could sometimes like will say y'all or howdy. I generally say howdy.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart, honey child. That should be on a fucking t-shirt. No. Tattoo.
Yes. Bless your heart, honey child.
I see that on like a Midwesterner, like somebody that lives like in Okatchee, Wisconsin. She's got 4 kids. She's 48. Her name, let's give her a name. Priscilla? No. Trish.
Ooh.
Okay? Her name's
Okay.
Trish.
Okay.
And on her back, she has tattooed with flowers and doves. Keeps a picture of this, like, bless your heart, honey child.
How about with a motorcycle with death on it?
Yeah, like, okay, you know what? She reached her cougar age. Fine. All right, let's make
Oh my
this
God.
make this a Midwestern cougar, because I don't think that has been made yet. That has to be made. Come on.
I do think I thought you were gonna say has 4 kids and she's 21. That's what I thought you were gonna say, but then you said 48.
You know, this may sound strange, but the women that I've met, particularly like even the ones in their 40s, are some of the coolest fucking bitches I've ever met. And
Amazing.
I don't know, maybe like the generation or whatever, you get sometimes the most genuine person.
That's awesome. I did, someone told me when I was living out on the West Coast, someone told me that people from the Midwest, which is after I grew up overseas, we came back to the Midwest and I grew up outside Chicago. They said that people from the Midwest are very heart centered, like really authentic and heart centered. They said that everyone on like Portland, Oregon, I lived there for a long time, they're all passive aggressive, which is true. We try not to be, but I think since I'm from the Midwest and I lived in Portland, I'm heartfully passive aggressive. Maybe you could say that about me. I don't know what they say about people from Florida, though.
I'm from New York. So
Okay.
I will tell you, we as New Yorkers, we're assholes. We're mean as fuck.
What?
And we're kind of the coolest people you'll ever meet.
What? Wait,
But
how does that all fit together?
It's kind of weird. New Yorkers are kind of hard to understand, but like, we're good people. We're hardworking people. Where I come from and like the environment I come from is very hard. And for other groups as well, it's a hard state to come from. We're not bad people. We can be assholes and bitches and fucking mean and curse a lot. We do. We fucking swear like we're goddamn dirty toilets. But it's a culture that it kind of grows on you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like a fungus.
Like a fungus, yeah.
Yes.
Kind of. Oh wow, that's a great analogy. Analogy for the day, please. Yes.
Like a sentient fungus that connects everything.
Even the glamour girls. And a child.
And the golden girls.
And the golden girls.
Yes.
Thank you for being a friend.
That's right.
Travel down. I don't remember the whole song.
I love those ladies.
I love Betty White. Like Betty, that Rose character ate me up because she had some comeback sometimes.
Perfect.
Yeah. Right on cue.
Absolutely.
Like calling Blanche, you slutty bitch. You know? Gold.
Did you ever watch the documentary on Betty White?
I haven't, but I've kind of watched bits and clips with her. It's really sad that she passed, because she was like a part of Hollywood, but you have to understand, like Betty White was basically like, fuck you to the entire Hollywood. She's like, I don't care about you. I was here before you and I'm going to leave way before you. So it kind of made her special. It was kind of like the last person that at a Hollywood that kind of felt genuine.
Yeah. She's absolutely a badass bitch trailblazer. I mean, like, and oh my gosh, that documentary, just utterly gorgeous. Always was utterly gorgeous, just drop dead gorgeous and talented as hell with everything. Just a badass bitch. Unbelievable.
People don't understand this. Like, she was at the beginning of television, like the very, very beginning. So she was the last one alive. I mean, there was Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz from I Love Lucy, which was actually the very first TV sitcom. People don't realize this. Like, I Love Lucy was the very first TV sitcom ever made.
I'll never forget the scene where Lucy has to eat all those chocolates because she can't box them up fast enough. That is just so iconic.
My favorite. Vita Vita, Vita Vita, Vita Vita. She got drunk off of the Vita Vita Vegemite because it had alcohol in it. She was doing a commercial. And she just keeps one after, and she's just getting more drunk as she goes.
Well, think about what a trailblazer.
She really was. And you have to understand also, like in the early 50s, people of color were not very well accepted. They basically had to create Desilu Productions to create I Love Lucy. And people are like, well, they were in CBS. They had to pay CBS to do the... And Desi figured out the whole camera setup and be able to make I Love Lucy. And it's where they were pioneers. They did something that could have got them canceled and ruined their careers permanently, but they did it regardless because they knew that there was an audience out there that maybe wanted to see an interracial couple.
Yeah.
See somebody Latin that speaks Spanish. Do you know that there were a lot of Spanish immigrants in the United States in the 50s? You know, it was a way for them to relate to something.
Yeah. Yes, and I think, if you think about the show Leave It to Beaver, you've got that whole dynamic with the family and how everybody gets along, how the family operates, how it is in the world, and then you go to something like I Love Lucy, which is so irreverent and funny and groundbreaking and has a biracial couple. And it's like this beautiful kind of groundbreaking next iteration of what the American family looked like, which was so needed at the time.
Mm-hmm. It really was. I'm kind of one of those people that I kind of like to look back at the past because there's a lot of different things that we can learn where it's not necessarily about race or oppression. Sometimes all you need is for artistry and creativity to come together for something that more people can relate to. Everyone can relate to. I come from interracial. My mom is white and my dad is African and Arab and Jewish. So that is important to me. You know what I mean? And like, you are a person that has lived overseas. Throughout history, there have been people such as yourself that have changed the course of a lot of different things that we do. It's just a matter of changing your... I've said this dozens of fucking times. Changing your perspective. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't understand really how precious my childhood was with kids from all over the world until I went to seminary and I had one of the women in my cohort started crying because we were doing a class on slavery, indentured servants, all of that stuff. And she started crying because her father, she brought a fellow friend from school home, and her dad was like, absolutely not. You will never bring that child into this house ever again, because it was a little African American girl. He was like that. And she just, even at this age she was 60 and she was just sobbing because it so traumatized her when she was a kid, and she's been carrying it for her entire life. I didn't understand how growing up overseas, getting to play with kids from all over the world, you really need to have that experience when you're young of inclusion, meeting kids from everywhere else, knowing adults, other people in your life, of other cultures, other religions, other races. You, as a child, that's such a huge gift. And it helps you to understand later on in life that, we're all the same.
We just come in different forms. And you don't have to pick and choose and, make sure one rises up because of something that has happened in the past. It's very much being able to get out of that box and understand, look, we need to build opportunities for all of us. Because guess what? I come from a background that has suffered with American oppression to a certain degree. And it's a reality for a lot of Americans, including very much white families out in the Midwest. People don't think about how the changes in our fields also has become a very big problem. We're almost out of topsoil. Nobody talks about this. We're almost out of topsoil. So if people don't understand what that means is we can't grow shit anymore.
Yeah.
That's plain English, right? We can't grow shit anymore. So we have, I think, 3 years. Yeah, 3 years.
Okay, I love Twix because Twix is like a naughty little monkey up there.
Come on. No, get your hands out. Get your hand. Look at this.
Is there like a giant thing of cat treats up there?
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Oh, what a little stinker butt.
Ugh. All right, now she's my shoulder pad. Hey.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
But can you feel her with that shoulder that's numb? We all know that shoulder's numb.
No, that shoulder is perfectly fine.
Now it is. But during the tattoo, it was numb. I'm just making sure
for several hours. Yeah.
But
if she plans on digging her claw nails in there thousands of times.
That's something else.
Shh, don't give her any ideas. Wait.
Sorry.
No. We gotta close the ears. Okay.
Close her ears. She looks like she totally knows what you're saying, by the way.
Surprising.
But yeah.
Hold on. No.
Oh.
No.
What is up there?
Hold on,
maybe it's a mouse.
There's just cat.
Oh, I saw Temptations.
Wait. I know what she's after.
Oh, the nip.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call crack cocaine. Yes, crack cocaine for cats.
Yes.
In a bottle.
And Twix is like, bitch, get out of my way.
Liz, she knows. I told you, she sometimes just steals the fucking show. She's like, listen, I don't care that you're recording right now. I'm just going to put my fat ass in this tiny ass box. Like, do you see this?
She's jonesing. Oh, God. Everyone should have a cat that takes over their show, I think, personally.
The thing is, I've gotten used to this. So she kind of helps me practice being able to talk and not being able to be distracted. Because the thing is, she is a pretty big distraction, so I can completely lose my thought or pace or whatever I'm saying when she's around. And like,
whoa, oh,
she wants. Okay,
she does. At least she has good taste.
All right, you got to come here. All right, wow, first time. I think this is the first time I've done this on the podcast.
That's amazing.
Okay. Wait.
Oh my God, she's so sweet.
Hold on. Okay.
Aww.
I'm going to give you one more.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I wonder if she's just as high as me, and she's just craving the munchies.
She
probably
is.
She's like, I need some munchies too. All right. Okay, you get one more. Come here. I'm telling you, I don't have a fucking dull moment. I don't have a dull moment ever having this cat around. Like, she just, honestly,
Aww.
Look, not all cats are like this. Not all dogs are either, okay? I hate those people that are like, well, dogs are more friendly. There's some dogs that are, and there's some that are just not, okay? Simple. But anyway, That is it. No more. She's so worth it.
She's very cute.
She is.
She's like your little shoulder angel.
I've had her since when she was 3 weeks old.
Wow.
So I'm pretty much like all she remembers.
Yeah. How did you get her when she was 3 weeks old?
I was living in Israel at the time, and I had an apartment in Jerusalem in an area called Nachlaot. And I had a friend of mine, her name was Reina. She was coming home from college. And on the way from college, she noticed out of a large, those large trash bins they have outside of buildings.
Yeah.
There were these 2 cats, this Chuki, and there was a ginger cat. She saw the ginger cat go under the car, and she noticed the other one kind of like fuddled away. So they started walking down the hill, and she noticed that this little Chuki was following them. So they checked her, and she had fleas. I'm not even kidding. Fleas, ticks, parasites, blood marks. Like she had diarrhea and was vomiting.
Oh my God.
So she was like really sick, and she called me up hysterical. She's like, "Can you take care of her?" And I'm like, "Sure." I took her in that night, and the first time I saw her, she got out of the blanket and she crawled up my leg and she tucked herself in. That was the first time I ever saw her. And we went to Herzliya, which is an area near Tel Aviv. And there was a doctor there that we got her to the following day. And I was like, he's like, "Can you help us out?" And whatever. He's like, sure. And we were just like, this is going to cost a lot of money. 3 hours later, he's like, "She's all great. Here's her medication. She just check on her poo and give her just the right food." They said, "You don't owe us a penny."
What?
They did all of that for free, and they saved her life.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, and I've had her for 6 years.
She has such interesting coloring.
Yeah, she is what's called a calico tuxedo, which means she has a white tummy and she has these caramel little patches, and she has like little. Let's see on the other side too.
Gosh, she's so pretty. She looks like a little bit of a leopard.
She kind of is.
Little leopard.
She likes to do zippies too. A lot of zippies.
And she likes the nip.
She likes the nip. Listen, who doesn't like the crack cocaine, okay?
True story.
True story. Never told, never will. Period.
You're like, and with that, endorsement of crack cocaine
is not allowed in the United States. But another note, Kirsten, a question for you, for the listeners out there. We spoke about your books and your podcast. Where can people find your socials and all your merch?
Well,
books.
anything you want to find. Yeah, thank you. Anything you want to find is on my podcast, my website. My website, bytesizedblessings.com, and it's BYTE. That's very important. So Byte isn't BITE, it's BYTE, sizedblessings.com, because each episode is like a unit of information. And on the website, you can get links to my books are carried at George R.R. Martin's bookstore in Santa Fe. Yeah, so you can click on the link and buy the books on their website, Beastly Books in Santa Fe, New Mexico. You can watch my animated series, Murder
You have
at
an
2.
animated series?
Yes.
Okay, girl, you gotta, honey child, you gotta elaborate now. Okay, the floor is yours. Let's hear it. I'm ready.
It's called Murder of 2, and it's about 2 crows that sit on a line and observe humanity. And each episode is about 2 to 3 minutes long, so they're super short, super tight episodes. But yeah, true to my social justice bent, the first episode, it's a comedy, okay? So keep that in mind. But the first episode is my response to what happened with George Floyd. I was just so beside myself. So I wrote that episode in response to George Floyd. So it is a comedy, but a comedy that remarks on humanity and our foibles.
I just can't get over the fact that you have a fucking animated series. That is so cool. Wow. So you've written books, you have an animated series, and a podcast. Listen, people, if I were you, I'd stop listening and start looking in the description section, start clicking. Please.
Twix says to click.
Come on, can you do just one meow? You do it throughout the entire episode. You're just meowing away in the background.
Well, I think she's having a food coma now, so.
Oh yeah, after the 3, yeah, that was a feast.
I know.
Indeed. Oh God. Well, listen, Kirsten, it's been an absolute pleasure and an absolute honor to have you on. I have to tell you, there are fun podcasts, and then there are fun podcasts. And listen, I mean, we know how to do this, honey child.
Woo!
Oh, honey. All right,
yes.
you got to say the last one. Come on.
Oh, honey child, this was so fun. Thank you for having me on.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, people, we're out. See you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.